Good morning. I appreciate your taking the time to be with us at this live webinar today. The topic is your patient and income accounting system. And so this is all about posting, which is the process of entering payments into the system that you receive from patients and from insurance companies, and also doing credits, refunds, write-offs, and doing everything you need to take care of your patient's accounting. So get started by calling this, you didn't go to school to become an accountant, most likely. So this can by far be some of the most challenging parts of running a practice is just this accounting process, since most of us don't have a business degree with accounting background. So let's get started here and talk about what we're going to review today. So we're going to review the process of how a session typically gets billed. We're going to review the patient's accounting area. We're going to review that each line on an accounting area, so you are very familiar with our posting screen. Then we'll take a look at recording payments to accounts, and then we'll finally look at setting up auto posting. So auto posting is the ability to have insurance companies that offer electronic remittance advice bring that information right into therapy appointment automatically. But we'll leave that till the end because regardless, you will need to know how to get around the posting screen and post some things manually in case you have insurance companies that don't offer that process for you. So here's where we're going to start today. I'm going to bring up a screenshot, and this is a posting chart that I've made, and I'd just like to show you what the accounting process does in our system. It does quite a bit. It updates a lot of different things at the same time. And so in the center, you'll see in this light blue, we say posting on clients' accounts affects all of these. So entering payments, refunds, credits affects all of these things surrounding it. It affects our bad claims list or problems claims. So it's either going to take care of that or maybe add a claim to that. Account aging statistics. So taking a look at how much money is overdue and how much overdue it is for a patient. Therapist income ledger. So posting affects your income, and patient statements and flex bills. Posting automatically updates these patient statements and flex bills in our system. So you can see that posting does quite a bit. So let's go to take a look around our screen. So the accounting process takes place because we have a patient on our schedule today, and in order to post a patient payment that a patient made at a time of service, we would go into the patient's information here on our schedule. So I can bring up display on this patient, and I can see some basics about this patient. But the charting process or charging process, if you're not using our chart notes or if you're an admin, is what is going to drive that posting being created in the first place. So the fact that I entered a CPT code for today's session, and I entered how much a patient paid me today for the session on the screen and indicated the type of payment, is what is going to drive an entry to be made in the patient's accounting screen. So I didn't chart notes here, but the fact that I entered that information and saved it turns this line yellow, and that's going to correspond with the fact that this patient's information is on the posting screen. So every patient's accounting process is held by going to their information page and then clicking on this button that says posting. That's going to bring up all the sessions that we've had with this patient so far listed in one place, and you can see today that I have date details for 5/4/15 session today, a 9/08/34, where the patient paid me $20. Okay, so that entry in my charting screen created this line on the posting screen. So that happens automatically in the system. Okay. So let's take a look at this charting screen and everything that happens on this screen. I am actually going to bring up another patient here because I've pre-prepared some things on this particular patient. And I'm going to bring up Anna Abel and go to her posting screen. So posting screens are very colorful, these accounting screens. They do that a color process is telling us something when we take a glance at this page. Okay. So on this posting screen, let's take a look at it as a global view. It's an accounting of every date of service where a patient has had a service or made a payment, or you've made a refund or an adjustment in the system. Okay. If we scroll on down to the bottom, we've been seeing this patient for many years, way back into 2012. We'll see an aging report of how much money is due that's current or is overdue. We'll also see a total amount the patient it was charged forever in the lifetime of the patient, all the patient payments made total, insurance made payments made total, adjustments made, secondary insurance payments, and amounts that went towards deductibles listed here. Over on the right side of this line, this is the total amount due on this account so far, and that amount will include what's expected to be paid by insurance companies and the patient together. At the bottom of the section, we have a place to enter new charges and credits for payments made not at a date of service, refunds, write-offs, those sorts of things. And we'll be taking a look at that here in just a minute. We also have a place if you're integrating credit card processing with our system. And as here about June 1st, we will be integrating with both Cayenne and Payline data as choices. Then this is where you can process a credit card for a payment not at a time of service. Okay, patient calls and wants to pay by credit card for an account. This is where you would go to do that. We're going to scroll back up to the top of the screen, and as we do that, we're going to see that most everything on this screen is blue in color. And blue is great. We like blue because that means that that data service is all balanced out, no problems, and that we need to pay attention to. So blue means complete or finished. And at the top of this posting screen, you'll see a color coding here that means blue means finished, green means in queue. So green means we have just created a claim for that client. It is being held in a claims queue in our system and has not yet been submitted to the insurance company. So if I click on this claims button, I'll be able to see this claim for 5215 on Anna Abel sitting there waiting to be submitted. So let's just click that claims button right now, and we'll see that listed up here at the top. We have Anna Abel's claim of 5.2. It's sitting there, and if I hit submit these claims, then that'll send that claim on through. Once that claim is sent through, then that claim line will turn to yellow, such as this line is on 423.15. That means submitted, but still in the wait process for insurance to pay on that particular patient and date of service. So yellow means we're waiting on insurance, but it's not yet a problem. Red means the line is a problem, and it's a problem because the charges or the debits do not equal the credits. A typical accounting process, remember that in order to balance out an account, the debits must match the credits. And so in our system, the charges must match patient payment plus any insurance payments plus any adjustments or secondary insurance payments in order to be balanced out. So that is your balancing process. So if we take a look down here on this red line, we'll see that we have a charge of $60 for a no-show. The patient has paid zero so far, and of course insurance is not going to pay on those type of sessions. We have applied $15 of overpayment from another data service towards this no-show, but the patient still owes us $45 for this particular session. So that's going to show up in red. Other things that will show up in red if this insurance has failed to pay in a certain amount of time or insurance paid less than expected for these services. We also have a place here that's marked postponed. In other words, I can go in and if I've worked on a claim and called it good, I can postpone that from being read for a little while so that it doesn't show up on a problem list. So these claims that are in red here, these services that are in red, are going to show up on a bad claims list. So on our system, the top of the gray column of buttons is a bad claims button, and if you click that, you're going to see all of these sessions that are red, and they're going to be red because this amount has been applied to a patient to pay, and or it's a credit balance that needs to be distributed towards other dates of service and amounts due for that patient. You'll see that these are divided up by insurance company so that if you do have to go take a look at an insurance, call an insurance company, you have everything in front of you about the particular patient. So for example, if we were to take a look here at these, we would see that we have some claims on Nancy Nelson sitting here in red, Rocky Balboa. And by clicking on these patients' names, I can get right to their accounting screen. But also from here, I can see if there's any problems with that claim. And in this case, what I can see is Rocky Balboa, for a date of service of 2/6/15, we submitted a claim back in February, and no insurance has paid so far. And it's been more than 45 days without payment, so it's on this problems list. For you to take care of, do some research, find out why that hasn't been paid, or maybe it has been paid and you failed to enter the payment into the system. Those are two very common reasons why this would be red, is that either insurance did not pay or it did pay, but you failed to enter the payment into our system. Those two processes have to happen. Okay. So if I click on Rocky Balboa's name here, I'm going to get directly to the posting screen for Rocky, that I can go more deeply into everything here. Let me go back to Anna Abel's posting screen very quickly, okay? And let's take a look in depth at that posting screen. So we talked about the color coding and what that color means. Green is waiting to be submitted. Blue is no problem, all accounted for. Yellow, waiting for insurance payment. Red, this amount has been assigned to the patient to pay as either a amount owed you, or it could be a credit balance that needs to be applied towards other dates of service. Okay. There are headers on top of each column on this screen. If we start over on the left, we see a header that says date or details. So the date here is the date that this transaction took place, or the session took place, or the payment was entered, patient payment was entered into the system. Okay. And so if we scroll on down, we see all those dates. Now this date is more than a date. It's actually a button that gets you into more information about the service that day. So if I click on this, 4/30/15, what's going to happen is I'm going to get a screen that allows me to edit some information here, but also view a lot of information about this service. The appointment date and time, the patient's name, account number. This fact is appointment confirmation was not received in our system because I didn't really have one set up for this patient. This is a billable transaction. The patient notes are locked. The date the notes were locked on. I can see the CPT code that was billed for the session today, how many units were billed, which location we billed for, any modifier codes added to that claim, add-on codes that went out with this claim, PQRS codes for Medicare billing that went out with this claim, how much I charged, what the suggested payment was that the client make at the time. We had a lot of money outstanding here, and then patient payment made for this date. Okay, so this patient payment of $25 is notated as being on the date of the service, and she paid by cash. Then I can scroll on down and we'll see the insurance company that was billed for the session. It says none. This was a private pay situation. Secondary insurance claim, we gave a $25 discount on this service, and this posting has been paid in full or disregarded. Now, people go in here and play it all the time, so this was actually been resubmitted a couple of times in a, not real, but you're also going to see insurance claim notes down here at the bottom of the screen. So every time that you have sent a claim into the system, our system is going to track that if you're sending claims electronically. And so one of the things that you would see here would be something like the top of this area. So I see, for example, the date a claim was generated in our service what time it went out, the insurance company it went to, when our clearinghouse office ally received this claim and was assigned a claim number. And if you're getting auto posting back in our system, you'd also see that the date that the information came back from the EOB. You'll also get confirmation on when the insurance company accepted this claim. So if we take a look at this one, the claim got to the insurance company on April 2nd, and they paid that claim on the 13th, okay, so about 12 days later. So all that information is going to be held here right under that date button. There's a wealth of information there for you to track a claim in our system. Okay. So let's go back to that posting screen and take a look at the next column. This next column is called Resubmit Claims. So if I have a claim that I need to resubmit, maybe insurance hasn't paid in a timely manner, and I would like to make sure it goes out again, all I need to do to resubmit that claim is click this button that says B, and if you hold over any of our buttons with your mouse, you'll see a pop-up that tells you what the button does. So add this claim to the next batch to be submitted. Don't use this button for routine claims. So let's say that it's been a long time since we got paid on this 410 date of service, and we want to resubmit that claim. All I need to do is hit B. That's going to batch it in the next batch of claims that go out in the system, and I'm going to get an OK here. And it turned that line green, and that claim would be in that claims queue ready to be submitted. Okay. So let's take a look at the P button. The P button is actually, if you need to print a claim for any reason or see how a claim is formatted to be sent to the insurance company, I can click this button, and I can actually see a claim and how it's going to be formatted to go out to the insurance company here. And this is going to create a PDF file in the system. And I can see this information and what is going to go in each blank in case I want to see if I'm getting any problems back from the insurance company, like I have information missing, I can see what's going in that box right now in case it needs to change. All right, let's get back to that posting screen. Now we have a column that says Insurance in Effect. So the insurance in effect that was billed for that date of service is going to be indicated on this button. So if I click, for example, on 41015, I will be able to see, click this button, and I can alter that insurance in effect or view which insurance company was in effect at the time. Premier Insurance was in effect at the time. Okay. If for some reason I need to resubmit that, maybe the client's insurance changed and they forgot to tell me, then I need to choose the insurance company from this list that should be billed before I resubmit that claim. And it's a drop-down menu. I would just choose the insurance company and hit select for this claim. Okay. All right. So now we're back at the posting screen. The next column over are for notes or corrections. So let's say that I have a problem claim here that I followed up on, and actually this one on 410, let's just pretend like I called the insurance company, and I would like to make a notation about that claim. If I click this button that says Edit, what it's going to do is bring me up a form where I can see every time, again, all those claim notes that we had in there, but I can add my own note to this area. I have a comment box right here that I can enter my notes, and they're going to be saved on that date button or into this comment area in case I want to look back and see what I did. So I might write something like called insurance and talked with Judy. It gave me a ticket number in case I need to call back on it, and resubmitted claim, blah, blah, blah. Okay? And so I can post this, and that is going to add that comment into that note section. And so we'll see that comment here. If I'd like to take a look at it, it says Edit, and I can just hover over it, and I can take a look at everything that is in that area, or I can click on it to read it. Okay. And so if I read it, that comment that I posted along with the date is going to be date stamped, will show up in the system. and I will be ready, able to do that. So here it is, 5/4/15 at 10:20. Called insurance, talk with Judy, blah blah blah. Okay. Now sometimes you need to correct claims, and this is a place where you can send a corrected claim through the system. In other words, you submitted a claim with a wrong CPT code that the insurance is going to pay on or paid on already, and you need to replace this with a claim or void a previous claim. You have the ability to do that in the system, and we'll cover that more in the billing section. You also have the ability to postpone problems in the system. This posting screen is really a combination of resubmitting claims and accounting for your patient. So now we get to the nitty-gritty here of a CPT or activity. This is a CPT code that was billed out for services that day. Okay. This is the charge that was charged for the services that day. This is how much the patient paid on the time of service. So for example, 5/2/15, patient payment is accounted for on this date. This $25 goes in as income for 5/2/15. If I take a look at my income ledger, I'm going to see this patient's name listed there as income for today. So here's a word of caution. If you are paying your clinicians, if you have clinicians that work for you, and you're paying clinicians and you're doing any changes on this posting screen, if the client comes in and says, you know, I didn't pay you $50 on the 3rd, I only paid you $25. If I go back and change this to $25, this is going to affect the income ledger on April 3rd. And what if I've already paid my clinician on that? I don't ever want to go back and change this date here. You can, but I'm going to tell you not to. We should enter that in as an adjustment in the system or a credit in the system by the patient. Because if I change this to $25, then if I ran a report last month, you know, at the beginning of May, and it says I had $50 paid by that patient on the 3rd, if I change this, then the report's now going to say I only got paid $25 on that service. So please understand, changing this column will change the date, will change the amount of money in the past, and that's usually an accounting no-no to change that. Okay. Now we have insurance payment column. If I'm entering an insurance payment into the system, it is recorded as the date I received the insurance payment and posted it. So for example, let's say that I got paid on 4/23/15 for 4/23/15 date of service today. I opened up an EOB, and insurance told me that they paid me $50 and I needed to adjust off $25 for contracted rate. So I'm going to enter that in as $50 from the insurance company. So I'm going to type that in this column under insurance payment. Okay. And then I am going to type the adjustment in here. What insurance said I had to adjust for contracted rate. Insurance only allows me $75 for a 90834. The client's responsibility was $25. The insurance is paying $50, and I need to adjust off $25 to meet my contracted rate of $75. So I'm going to enter that information in here, and I'm going to click this button that says Post. And that is going to lock in the information that I have entered, and it's going to update the patient's accounting statement. And when it does that, it's going to notate, first of all, this is all balanced out. It turned blue. And it's going to be notated as the insurance payment was today. So let's go take a look at that. 4/23/15. Let's hit this date button. Remember that when we bring up this date button, it's going to show us the situation and the dates that we receive payments from patients. And so if I scroll down here, we will see that on the date of service, the patient paid $25, but insurance company paid me $50 on 5/4/15. So if I'm entering EOB today, but maybe insurance really paid me last 2 months ago, because I'm so far behind on getting it in, I might need to go adjust this date here, and I can do that so my accounting is properly accounted for. But I just want you to be aware of how our system works. It's meant to be a huge time saver, but if you don't understand where the money is posting to and the dates, that could cause you problems when you're running reports, if you're paying other people for services. If it's just you, probably not a big deal, except when it comes to the end of a year and you're needing to account for income that you received in one year versus another. But this is very important to understand when you're managing a large group practice. All right, so let's go back to that posting screen and take a look here. So the amount we charge, the amount the patient paid on the date of service, the amount of insurance payment, remember that's accounted for on the date we entered it into the system, adjustment for a contracted rate, secondary insurance payment. So if there's two insurance companies that pay, this is the line where the second insurance company payment gets entered. And then we have a section here that's called towards deductible. This can be utilized by our auto posting system. If a patient insurance company paid zero because the patient had a deductible, then there'd be an amount that goes in here that went towards the deductible for that patient that day. And then balance due on that service. Okay. Distributed adjustment means I have taken an overpayment from another date of service and applied it towards today, and that counts to balance off the charge. So if we take a look at this no-show, I have $60 charge, patient paid zero, but an overpayment of $15 from another date of service has been applied to today, and thus there's only a $45 payment that's due by the patient. If I want to know where that $50 overpayment came from, just hover over the Notes button, and I can read here a credit of $15 has been added. It was credited from a patient payment transaction from 3/2/15. So they had a credit balance, and I applied it today. So, that's a lot, isn't it? Okay, so let's go take a look at this very specifically and some unique situations and regular situations that we would show. So we took a look at the screen. We took a look at how to post an insurance transaction here. Let's just do another insurance posting in the system and show you what that would be like. So I'm going to go to Rocky Balboa here as a patient. I just got an EOB in from him. So I'm going to his posting screen. Here we go. He's got, looks like everything's good on his account. We've been seeing him a long time, but mostly everything's blue. And we just have some dates of service that we've been waiting on insurance to pay. So insurance today is paying on date of service back here from 2/20/15, and I'm reading my EOB. And remember that an EOB tells you exactly what you're getting from the insurance company as a payment. So here would be a sample of an EOB. It would tell me what dates of service I was paid on. So for example, this tells me here's the patient's name. I charged $120. Insurance paid me $71.81. And I had to write off $30.24 for contractual obligations that exceed my, this is for my contracted rate because I billed more than my contracted rate, which is typical. And patient's responsibility was $17.95. So this is what tells me what to enter into those screens. So I'm reading this EOB. And so I see that insurance paid me for 2/12/15, and insurance paid me $40 today. Okay, so I'm going to enter that $40 into this posting screen, and I see where insurance told me I needed to adjust off $20 for contracted rate. It only allows me to make $80. $40 is the patient's responsibility, and $20 needs to be adjusted off. So I'm going to enter that adjustment there, and then I'm going to hit this post button. And when I hit that post button, it turns blue because everything balanced out. I charged $100, patient paid $40, insurance paid $40, and I had to adjust off $20 to meet the $80 contracted rate. So that's been accounted for. Remember, the patient paid me $40 way back in February. Today's $40 is accounted for as income received today. Adjustment $20. Okay. Let's do one more. 3/26/15. patient insurance paid $40 for that data service. I need to adjust off $20 for contracted rate and post. So let's go take a look at my statistics now and my income ledger so we can show you exactly how this works. So if I go take a look at my statistics and I take a look at my practice income and I want to take a look at today, I'm going to see that information has showed up today under my primary insurance payments. I just received $80 total from this insurance company on Rocky, and I can go in here and take a look at that very specifically on this journal. So I can see today everybody I got paid on. So Rocky Balboa, Aetna paid on him $40, and I can see that dates of service that they paid on and the payment date. Okay, so that was accounted for today. You notice that $40 that the client paid me was way back in February and March, and that got assigned back to those dates of service. This is also going to update the patient's accounting screen. So if I take a look at their statement, I would be able to see on that statement that it was updated, and those dates of service that we were taking a look at here finally got paid on. So I can see that on 2/12, we charged $100, the patient paid $40, insurance paid $40. We adjusted $20 off our contracted rate, so there's no balance due from the patient. And then these other services waiting for payment are sitting here, and we have a $60 balance due, but insurance hasn't paid yet, and it's not assigned to the patient to pay. Okay, so the patient does not owe anything right now, even though it looks like they do. And if you take a look down here, it says amount due $0. That is a patient statement. So everything updates automatically when we post. Okay, so that's how you post on basic insurance payments. Okay. So let's take a look. I want to go back to Anna Abel. So Anna Abel had a balance due that insurance wasn't going to cover, and she's going to pay that today. Whoops, I need to be paying attention to what I'm clicking on here. And so she has a $45 past balance due that we sent her a statement for, and she's paying that today. And she mailed a check in to me by mail, and I'm opening it right now, and I need to go and record that payment. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go down to the very bottom of the screen, and I'm going to see this green line here that says a new charge or credit, and I'm going to enter patient payment and select that. Okay. And once I select that, then we'll be able to see that there's going to be an opportunity for me to choose. My computer is running a little slowly right now. I apologize for that. I have a problem with screen sharing sometimes. It doesn't like to let my mouse click, and I haven't figured out quite why that is in the system. So let me figure that. Let me go here. I can do this in another place as well. Okay, there we go. So patient payment is going to pre-fill in with today's date. I could override that. Usually you enter income on the date that you received it. Okay, so if you actually received the check yesterday, you probably might want to change this date to yesterday in the system. All I need to do is change that to a 3. Okay, and how much the check is for. So the check was for $45. And I apologize, my internet is having an issue. Okay, $45. And then we're going to indicate, for example, if they paid by cash, credit, or debit. And I'm going to give my computer just a minute to catch up here and choose how the payment was given to me. And it's going to give me a line where I can post the check number in the system as well. If my computer were not being slow right now, I apologize for the delay. And here in pages here. And then we would hit post. There we go. I'm going to enter in the check number, and then I'm going to enter the button to say post that transaction. So post. So once I hit that, what we're going to see is that the system is going to post that payment for me up here at the top of the screen, and it's going to be in red because it's a credit balance and there's no debits to balance it off. So the patient made a $45 payment. And I want to apply that down here to this data service of 417 15. So what I'm going to do is anytime you have a credit balance, you'll have a button at the bottom that has a distributed adjustment that turns up bright yellow. When you click that, what's going to happen is you are going to get a screen that allows you to take that payment and apply it towards other dates of service in order to balance that out. It doesn't change anything about the date you received the money. It just is going to apply that credit to balance something out and turn it blue. So I received this money today, but we're going to apply it to this 417 transaction, which is a no-show. I have other opportunities where there's money due, but there's also a warning here that we're waiting on insurance in these systems, so probably don't want to apply that credit there since we're waiting on insurance to pay. So $45, distribute the credit as indicated. So funds were distributed as requested, and that payment of $45 is balanced out now. It's blue, and so is this no-show down here. It's all blue in color because we took the money and applied it towards this session today. So if I hover over that edit button, I'll see that a credit of $45 has been added to the distributed adjustment, credit it from 5/4/15 patient transaction. And if I hover over this one on 5/4, I'll see that this was credited to 4/17/15, leaving a balance of 0. So all that's going to show up on the patient statement. So that is a distributed adjustment and a payment on a date of service other than the date we saw the patient. Now, a couple other things that you're going to run across in our system. One of those with transferring current clients into our system is they often have a balance due to you, or maybe even a credit that you want to transfer into our system. So I'm going to work with a new patient here that I've just entered into the system, and it happens to be Felix Cat. And I need to go in, and he actually owes me $75 from a previous date of service. And so I'm going to go to this posting screen, go down to the area where it says New Charger Credit. I'm going to pick Patient Balance Forward, okay? And so this is not going to be assigned as income in the system. It's merely assigned as an amount a patient owes us. We've already been paid for previous things. It's not a charge. It's a balance forward. Okay. So I'm going to choose balance forward. It's going to put today's date in there. I can adjust that if necessary. And so if he owes me money, I put it in this column. If I happen to owe him money, I put it in as a credit. Okay. So post. So now that's going to show up. And when I go to see Felix this next time, I'm going to see on that screen when I'm checking him in or out that he has a past due of $75 owed, and I can ask him for that money. Okay, or it's going to show up on a statement now as a balance forward, and he owes $75. Remember, red means the patient's been assigned that amount to cover. So that's how you do a balance forward, and it'll show up on our postings, on our income statistics as a balance forward. It doesn't if it's not in charges. It's in its own separate section. Now let's take a little bit of a look at someone who might have a credit balance, and so that we can distribute money off. We take a look at that. So let's go to our bad claims button, and we're going to see here credit balances are always going to be in parentheses, and these are here because we need to assign that overpayment to another date of service for that patient, or maybe we need to owe them a refund. So right from here, I have a $100 overpayment for this patient, and I'm going to click on Nancy Nelson's name. so that I can see if I can apply that towards other dates of service. So I see I have that red line there, and I have lots of dates of service that insurance hasn't yet sent back to me. We have another credit, and we have a payment due by the client here. So I can go and apply that $100 to this date of service. Okay. So let's go ahead and hit distributed adjustment. It's going to bring up a screen that's going to allow me to click to apply that, and I apologize, my internet just got slow again. We will be patient. Here we go. So on 2/2015, the patient had a credit balance of $100, and I need to apply that towards this balance due of $20. So it's just going to apply $20 towards it because that's all that's due, and I'm going to distribute that credit as indicated. When I go back, what I'll be able to see here is that $100 that was due has been reduced to an $80 credit now, and that money was assigned towards another date of service. All right, so let's take a look now at doing a refund on a client. So I have a client, Jane Doe, who saw me way back when, and she has a credit balance of $100. I haven't seen her in about 5 months, and I don't think she's coming back, so I will need to refund her this balance that she overpaid because her insurance actually paid, and I had to do a credit on that, so I need to refund this money. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go down to the bottom. We're going to click Refund. We're going to click on the date is to date, and we're going to enter in the amount of the refund in this charge column. So $100, and I'm going to post. So on that posting screen, I am going to then distribute this adjustment, and then I'm going to say that we're going to apply that refund to that date of service. All right, so now I need to write a check to that patient to mail it back, probably include this statement there, and I'm going to put a note in here under the Notes Correct button that sent in refund, check number 4567, mailed with statement, okay? And just post that information so if I ever need to look back at that. But now this patient's account is all balanced out, no problems, and that's going to show up on our income ledger as a refund. So let's take a look at that income ledger very quickly now. Practice income, I'm just going to look at today because that refund would go out today. So I can see amount of money that I have that's come from clients and refunds here. So I have $668 that came in from clients today, but I had a refund of $100, so my effective income was $568 today. Also take a look, here's that balance forward going down here. We can see we paid by one client of $65 today. Remember, we got that check in, okay? So we have that information, and that's how we do a refund. Now, another thing we'll need to do is a write-off. So a write-off is a situation where a client owes you money, and you want to, you basically say you're not ever going to be able to collect it. You want to write it off of our system so it doesn't keep showing up as a statement for that client. So we happen to have Jill James here, and let's go take a look at her screen. So she owes us $50. This is way back from last year, and I'm going to write that off. Probably should have written it off a long time ago, but I want to write that off so it's just not continuing to send her statements. So I'm going to go down to the very bottom section under New Charge or Credit. I'm going to choose Write Off. I'm going to choose to write off $50, and I'm going to post. I'm going to hit Distributed Adjustment. I'm going to apply that towards the date of service, and there we go. Everything is balanced off. Now, people have been playing around in the system, so this is showing up still as yellow in the system, even though it's been, we resubmitted it, even though it was a claim we already got paid on, so that's why it was yellow in our system, because we don't really send bogus claims to insurance companies. So now everything is blue, and that's going to show up then on my statement of income. Okay. Practice income today. We'll take a look at that. and that's going to show up as a write-off. So here we go. We wrote off $50 in the system. All right. So that's some basic things that you would see in the system. One other thing I want to take a review here is if a patient were calling to give you a credit card payment over the phone and you were integrated with our credit card processing, then to take that payment on the phone, you'd identify the patient's name. So let's say that that happened to be Jill James. We would hit a credit card on that posting line. We would say how much is going to charge on that card, and I'm going to choose to charge card by swiping card through my card reader or keying in information. It's going to ask me the rest of the information if I don't have it on file already. And I just follow the process to charge that card in the system. It'll create a line in the system when that's done. All right, so we've covered most of the situations for hand posting right now. I want to go ahead and take the last 10 minutes here to talk about auto posting. So auto posting is the ability for us to grab electronic remittance advices from insurance companies. So when you get a paper remittance advice from an insurance company, it's called an EOB, an explanation of benefits. When an insurance company offers that as a file, it's an 835 file that we can grab and auto post in our system, then it's called an ERA, electronic remittance advice. Lots of acronyms here to remember. But let's first talk about how to set that up to come into our system, and then we'll talk about that process. So in order to set up for insurance companies for electronic remittance advice to come into our system, we want you to go to Office Ally or Clearinghouse because they have a resource center on their website that holds all the payer enrollment forms for electronic remittance advice. So we're going to go to Resource Center, Payer Enrollment Forms, and I'm going to click right here on this tab link that says Electronic Remittance Advice ERA 835 Enrollment Forms. This gets me to a list of forms that Office Ally has on hand from the insurance companies for you to fill out and follow directions in order to get that ERA to come in. So if you don't see your insurance company here, it's likely they don't offer electronic remittance advice, and you'll have to continue to get post those payments by hand when you get an EOB from the insurance company. But for example, let's take a look. Let's say that I happen to be in Texas, so I want to set up for Blue Cross Blue Shield of Texas for me to get that information in electronically. So I'm going to click that, I'm going to click that link, and now it's going to bring me up a PDF file. And this is Office Ally's information, and you want to follow the information exactly as they tell you on this form, and then scroll down, or there's links there to follow. So here's the form. I can fill it out online and print it. Okay, it's not too complicated. Basically, tax ID numbers and basic information. Make sure you're using Adobe Acrobat as your PDF viewer here, because then that way Office Ally's information pre-fills on that form, so you don't have to go look it up, like their customer ID numbers and receiver address and all that good stuff. That's already pre-filled out for you. So if I go look at how do I enroll, it says I must complete the form located on page 2 of this packet. I must fill out these sections, and once that form's completed, I can fax it in or mail it in. I'd recommend fax, so it'll get there faster. And how do you check status? If you have questions regarding that process, contact Blue Cross Blue Shield. Okay. So in other words, I'd wait a couple of weeks, make sure that they got it. They usually send you information about having updated that. Sometimes they won't. Sometimes you'll just start getting information. So you have to do this for every insurance company you're on panel with or you want to receive ERAs with. I'm sorry, I wish there was one form that could go out to all the insurance companies, but that's not what they do. They each have their own form. So go look them up, fill them out. Keep them on file after you fill them out, fax them in, or email them in, because if you need to redo that, you have a file you can pull out and not have to fill all the information out again. Personally, when I set up with Aetna, I had to fax it in 3 times. Every other insurance company took it over really quickly. Aetna caused a problem, and I'm not sure why, but finally got it set up. So most of the major insurance companies do offer ERAs. How can you tell if your insurance company does for sure? Well, you can take a look at it here on this list, or if you go to Resource Center and take a look by payer ID number or insurance name. So, for example, if I want to take a look at National Benefit Fund, 1099 National Benefit Fund, I can go take a look under this ERA column and I see a Y, then yes, they do offer ERAs, so there will be a form available to fill out and send in. But if I go down here to 21st Century Health and Benefits, that company does not offer ERA. So it's an insurance company has to offer ERA before it can be downloaded into our system. So now you're set up for ERAs. What happens is the insurance company creates an explanation of benefits for you, and it sends it then to Office Ally as an electronic file. Office Ally gets it, and we go in and automatically pick it up in the system. And we are going to create for you some messages when that happens. So everybody has a message button in the lower left-hand corner. If you are the head honcho, these messages of a group, these messages are automatically going to come to you. If you'd like them to go to someone else in your group, please let us know. Call tech support or go and email tech support and let them know which account should get those. Maybe you have a billing admin that should be getting those. We can make them go to that admin. Only one person in your group can get them, however. If you're a group of independent practitioners, then all of you would get your own forms that come through here. So click on this button, and when you have one that comes into our system, we're going to send you a message about that. And it's going to look something like this. You just received one or more healthcare claim payment advice reports from our clearinghouse. Everything was updated automatically with this information if possible. You can view a report by clicking below. Okay. You can also view a report by going to the clearinghouse button. So that report link in that email is a link right to our clearinghouse button. And that clearinghouse button would look something like this. So it would link right to this message here, ERA posting report. If I hit display, I can get right to that report. So you also might get a message, for example, that says that we couldn't, there was a problem encountered in that process that needs your attention. And in that case, you can click this button and bring up the problem report. So let's take a look at the reports that you would receive underneath these buttons. So one of the first reports, just a regular report, would be look something like this. You'd have says ERA auto posting report. You'll notice this header is green. So each date of service an insurance company paid you on, you're able to take a look. Yep, you got paid $71.81. You got paid $68.93. Okay. And so I can see everything that happened here. It was Blue Cross Blue Shield of Texas, insurance $71.81. I had to adjust off $30.24, and $0 went towards the deductible. The client's copay was $17.95. All that happened automatically. What we were posting by hand before automatically fills in for us. Okay? It's magic. As a clinician, it's the next best thing to sliced bread when I'm doing my own billing. I read that report, there's no problems, I'm just going to delete that report. Yes, I'm going to delete that report. I don't need it anymore. So that's also going to be found under my clearinghouse button. Remember, it's linking me right to here, and I can see that report here, then I can delete it after I've done reading it. If there's a problem report, it would link right here and show up as a red problem. And if I read that message, it would look something like this. Things are in red here that were problems. So I can't post this transaction automatically. Insurance paid $0. An insurance payment of $0 was entered earlier. So I want to investigate because it looks like they double paid me. Well, in this case, I had sent a claim in. Insurance paid $0. I resubmitted the claim. Insurance finally paid. But I already had $0 entered into the posting screen as the insurance payment, which is what you should do. And now this is telling me, oh, insurance did pay. It paid $57, and you had to adjust off $3 for contracted rate. So I just need to go and post that one by hand. This other one is telling me this claim was denied, so insurance paid $0. In case I'm concerned, it didn't go to a it was denied and it didn't go to, a denied is different than it being applied to a deductible. So this was a problem that I need to follow up on. Why was it denied? Okay, so I can usually take a look at that and see why it was denied. So that raw ER, we get a raw ERA at the same time, and it shows up in gray on our posting screen. So if I click on this report, it's going to tell me exactly everything very specifically on that claim. So here's what a raw ERA would look like. And let me get this brought up. So it's going to tell me the check number I'm getting paid with or electronic deposit number. Okay? I highly recommend if you set up for ERA that you also connect with your insurance company and set up for direct deposit through them. The reason is that the insurance and direct deposit and the ERAs come out at the same time. So they're going to get posted within 24 hours of each other. If you are set up to receive a paper check from the insurance company, it's going to post maybe today. That money is actually the insurance company released today, but they're sending it to you in a paper check, and you're not going to get that check maybe for a week because of the mail system. So I highly recommend you do auto posting. Couple of reasons. One, if you ever have to move your office, you're not having to worry about paper checks going to your old office location and not knowing where they end up. Auto deposit is much simpler. What I'm doing with this report is I'm seeing I'm getting paid $140.74 from the insurance company. This is the direct deposit number. I can see that it has an E in it, and then has your information up here and the date that direct deposit is expected to go into my bank account, or if it's a paper check, it's the date it's released from the insurance company. So it's probably not the date it gets in the mail, it's the date it gets printed. So as soon as I double check my, I'm going to leave this raw ERA here until I double check my insurance or my bank account, make sure that payment's in there. By the way, I've never had it not be there. And after that, I can delete this report. But I also can see any other problems listed here if I want to take a look at everything in that column that was there. So this looks like a traditional EOB where our posted EOBs in there are a little more narrative in form. All right, so again, after I'm done with that ERA, I don't need it anymore. I can just delete it. All that information is going to be held on a patient's accounting screen for that date of service. So if I ever need to look at a problem claim, so let's say I have a problem claim here that insurance denied. So insurance paid $0, let's say, on this claim from Peter Piper. So I'm going to click on it, and I'm going to go into notes correct or date details in order to read everything that happened with that claim. So let's just say it happened to be this particular service. So I would see, yep, I sent the claim in on the 25th. Insurance got it on the 26th. And on the 9th, insurance denied my claim. And here's all that information about why they denied it. And all they said is claim lacks information or has submission billing errors which are needed for adjudication. What does that mean? It means I probably need to go to call the insurance company and find out what the problem is. So it posted $0. So I can see everything right here, every date of service. So no need to keep those EOBs around in that clearinghouse screen after you've dealt with them. It's going to be attached to that problem claim that shows up red in your claims list anyway, so that you can take a look at it. So automatically everything's going to be updated on that patient's accounting. It's going to update my income ledger. It's going to post the money on the date it was received, so that money received from the insurance company is going to be accounted for on the day it's received by you, or that auto posting uploads into our system. So that is auto posting. I have kept you for an hour. I appreciate your time today. I know this is a complicated system and that you might likely have some additional questions about that. We are happy to help if you'll just contact us. If you have questions about posting or insurance claims, when you call us, if you listen to our phone tree, we actually have a selection that gets you right to our insurance specialist who can help you with those matters. We can look over your shoulder and see information that comes in and direct you on how to learn about doing your own insurance billing. We want to teach you how to do it rather than do it for you. So we'll give you direction on where to go next. But we're not here to take care of it for you, by the way. So appreciate your time today. If you have questions, please give us a call and have a great rest of the week.